Iris is hiring a whole team of people to kind of get the Citizen off the ground. Obviously, we met Camilla last season, Cisco's girlfriend. She did some photography for Iris West. She will definitely be back in the mix in terms of being around the paper. And we're hiring a couple more employees that I'm really excited about. I think fans will really love. So it's definitely going to be a set and a storyline we visit often on the show this coming season, which I'm really excited about.
Will the big bad be involved in that storyline?
I don't know. I haven't heard anything about that, I'm sure. Iris always seems to find herself in some sort of big bad mess. So, yeah, I'd imagine that's probably likely at some point.
What can we expect from Les Allen this season? Last season we spent a lot of time as parents, and not as much time as a married couple. What does it look like in the wake of their daughter's loss?
Well, we pick up 10 seconds after season 5. Obviously, the death of Nora is still very fresh and raw. We see both Barry and Iris dealing with it in their own way, maybe not the healthiest way, and so they really, episode 1, you see them trying to figure out how do we deal with this in a healthy way so that we can move forward as a couple. And as members of Team Flash, because obviously Central City is always crazy stuff. We have Crisis on Infinite Earths coming, and so everyone's kind of has to get into this headspace of being ready for all of that.
6 seasons in, how open is the conversation that you get to have with the showrunners and the writers in terms of what you want for Iris and how that plays out?
A lot more, and maybe it's always been there, but I just feel so much more assertive now. I don't know how long our show is going to be on the air. I don't know how long I'm going to be on it, and so I have a little less care about speaking up about the things I need or want for the character, you know? Because one of the biggest things was like, I don't want to leave this show without the arc of Iris being the reporter we know her to be in the comic books. I mean, what a loss if we don't have that on the show. I think we would be doing a huge disservice to long-time comic book fans by not having that. So I'm much more vocal than I used to be, for sure. And we have a new showrunner, Eric Wallace. He had us all in his office before we started. We kind of laid everything out on the table. I said all the things I want to do, all the things I don't want to do. And he seemed very receptive, and he's very passionate. He's a comic book nerd like no other. And so he's very invested in these stories and these characters. He loves Iris West Allen as much as I do. And so I feel like that character is in good hands this season, and I'm really excited about that.
What didn't you want to do?
Less Star Labs.
Right, okay.
I was like, oh, it's not, I mean, I love Star Labs. I think we all do. I think it just became this thing where we're all standing around in Star Labs. It became the central focal point for everyone on the show. And I think there's just more interesting ways to tell stories rather than all of us being in the same room, recapping what we just saw in the scene previously. So hopefully we can break people off more. Everyone has their own kind of storyline, and we come together when we need to, and just give it some freshness is all.
Speaking back off of that, how might we expect, like the dynamic of Team Flash, like when, like threats come up, how might that dynamic shift now?
Say that again?
How might that dynamic shift now that we are moving away from Iris being back into the reporting field instead of, being Star Labs all the time, which should affect the Team Flash dynamic?
Yeah, I mean, she's still there. She still has her, desk in Star Labs. I don't know how that's going to play out, because I think there was this idea of her being the team leader for a while, and so I don't really know if she's still the team leader, who is the team leader, if there is even a team leader, if we even need that, or we all just kind of collectively, come together in that set and powwow. So it'll be interesting to see how much she's in Star Labs moving forward now that she's got her job, and what her role is at Star Labs and Team Flash.
Do we get a little more Jesse L. Martin this season, and does that mean we get more Iris and Joe?
Yes, and yes. Obviously, I think anyone who follows the show and the cast knows that I'm very, very close to Jesse, and he is, the reason I'm still here, and I love working with him. He's a phenomenal actor, and I love my scenes with him. They're so easy. I love coming to work on those days, and so, again, the conversations I have with Eric, showrunner, more scenes with me and my dad, I love the family aspect of our show, and he's such an incredible asset. The more we use him, I think the better off our show is.
Have you seen any conflict starting between what's going on with Team Flash and then running a newspaper, where there are things you can't talk about but you want to, or you might have to stop your reporters from reporting on? Do you think anything like that might come up?
We haven't gotten that far. We're only on episode 2.
Oh, sorry.
No. But I mean, that's something I've talked about even last season on the panel here when I was talking about becoming a reporter. I just think there's so much to be mined from the idea of Iris being a reporter and what that means to be a journalist, especially in this day and age when, you know, there is an assault on journalism and the truth.
And just because you know something doesn't mean you have to report it. There's safety issues when you report on something that could actually cause a safety problem later. Is it okay to report on it? Where does the line lie?
Yeah, so I don't know. I hope we get into those kind of questions of, you know, morality and what's right and what's wrong in terms of being a journalist and what the right thing to do is and when to speak and when not to speak. It'll be an interesting conflict.
Are there any friendships that will develop for Iris, like in her new workplace, that we're going to see her having more fun with girls, maybe?
Yeah, there's definitely a few females that she hires that she definitely has a bond with. I think it's more of like a mentor-mentee kind of relationship, these younger women that she's kind of, you know, bringing up in the world of journalism and looking after. And so I think there is going to be a lot more of those kind of female friendships, especially in her workplace, which I'm really excited about. I think we can always use more of that. So, yeah.